G'day, everybody, and welcome to where are we at? Episode 3 of the Eden Marine High School Radio podcast that Mr. Stewart sort of spearheaded. Mr. Martin here today with you, and also in the beautiful crowd we have Miss Jill Francis from Humanities with Mel Sandifer. Thank you for coming and being our panel again. And we are also welcoming Ben Neville and Georgia Corbell, your school captains. Everybody, let's see if we can break the internet and say hello at the same time. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello.
Hello.
We're going to try and keep this one a little bit short and friendly, and it's just about getting a bit of a student perspective as well as giving you some hot tips from our point of view. So, Georgia, I'm going to throw to you first if you don't mind, and I'm just wondering, how do you keep motivated when you're working from home? What are you doing?
I try to keep a somewhat normal routine. That doesn't mean doing a full day of school. I mean waking up around the same normal time, doing my exercise of a morning. I've learnt to actually make your bed, like someone said in the last episode. It is easy to not make your bed when you're staying at home, but if you make your bed, you don't stay in it all day, you actually are more productive. I try to go on to Google Classroom at 9 o'clock and find what I need to do for that day, make a list to do it. It might only be 2 tasks, but do whatever you can to keep yourself motivated. And I know in year 12, it's extremely difficult at the moment to keep motivated because our exams keep changing and it just is feeling like a really long drag. But yeah, just think of the bigger picture and that we're eventually going to get out of it, and just do what you find enjoyable. So don't spend all day on your screen, go outside and do something. Yeah, that's what I do.
That sounds great, Georgia. And I think that it's those little things like making the bed, having a shower, putting real clothes on that keeps that routine happening, and it keeps those good habits going as well. Yeah, I should probably get onto that making the bed tip myself.
Me too. Me too.
Ben, what's been your most positive experience of Eden Marine, and how do you think that this has shaped you as a person?
Oh, look, there's a few there. I'd say that possibly in last year when we made it to the semi-finals with the mock trial competition. Or also last year when I was elected school captain, I'd say would be up there with some of my most positive experiences at my time at Eden High. I'd say that they have definitely helped. Like I say, there's been struggles along the way that have helped build my character and make me the person who I am today.
No, that's fantastic. I'm glad that you're able to have such a wonderful experience at Eden Marine as well. What advice do you think you'd give to your year 7 self if you could turn back time?
I'd probably say don't take things as seriously and just sort of, go with the flow a bit more.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I think that's just something for life in general, whether you're not year 17 or 18 or whether you're just that slightly bit older, such as myself. It's something that I always tell myself as well, is if I could go back, I wouldn't have stressed nearly as much about things that in hindsight weren't that big of a deal. So I think that's really good advice. Georgia, my question to you is actually, I think it's a bit of a tricky one, and it's something that every leader in the world right now is kind of trying to deal with. And it's this idea of being a leader in lockdown. It's been a really tough kind of gig for you guys over the last 12 months. You've spent a fair bit of your leadership sort of in this bizarre space of COVID. And my question is sort of 2 parts. Firstly, how have you found leading from afar? And then what advice would you give the incoming captains with this idea of leading virtually rather than face to face?
Yep. Well, personally, I haven't really experienced much leadership at home, as being a school leader, there's a lot we can do at school because everyone's there together. It's a lot easier. Whereas when we're at home, it's a lot harder to connect with, especially kids from other years. Trying to be a school leader, it would be extremely difficult. But it is important to, I think, as a leader or even just someone in lockdown, to keep in contact with your friends. If you know they're struggling, maybe warn the teacher if they're not comfortable, or speak to your friends about it. And for yourself, if work's getting too much, like the workload, tell the teacher that you can't handle it at the moment, so that at least they're aware that you can't be doing it at the moment. And I think on a more serious note for leading at home, I think it's important to be a role model to other students. Turn up to your Zooms, do your schoolwork, and then other kids might be more inclined to do so. But yeah, that's about all I have for that.
I reckon that's such great advice, and it's just it's so important that as a leader in whatever capacity you are, whether you're out there as a part of a surf life saving crew or you're a part of a football team, wherever it's at, do as what you think is the best way forward, and it'll give you confidence in what your ability is, and it also really does shine a light. And you guys are in a really important place at the moment because there's a lot of people that are just under you who are really looking at you, even though you might not realize that. So, and I take my hat off to both of you guys. You're fantastic leaders and you've done a great job at Eden High so far. So really look forward to seeing you take something from that. Hey Ben, what does next year look like for you, do you reckon? What would in the perfect world, what would 12 months time down the track look like?
Perfect world, I'd be living in Sydney for uni. I'd be at Macquarie Uni, ideally, living on campus, and I'd be about 3/4 of the way through my first year on campus.
Yeah. And so your plan is to go and study?
It's a Bachelor of Education and a Bachelor of Arts.
Great, man. That's so great. Well, look, I'm sure that there's going to be opportunity for you no matter what the scenario is. Obviously, we live in a very, very changing world, and we have to be adaptable in every way that we can be. So,
Absolutely.
I think we might wrap the podcast up there. Thanks very much for tuning in to this episode and having a good time. And big thank you to Ben and Georgia for being with us, to Jill and to Mel for also joining us today. And look, we've got some special guests coming up next week, so make sure you tune in and stay on top of it. And let's take it out. Like, this is one of my favourite things. So my Year 7 kids have been working pretty hard on creating some cool content online, and so we did a bit of an alteration to the theme song here for the podcast. I hope you enjoy it. Here it comes.